So we will, there are government part of programs which makes teachers training. I happen to be the director of academic staff college. Teaching the highest teachers in the university center was my job. So having left that job, I thought I have to do something as part of my social service. So we could share a lot of ideas. So this could be a platform which share your ideas across different parts of the country. So I cannot handle more than 50 people because I am not an institution, I am an individual. So I am running the show, I am make.
Do you believe, sir, that this is one of the platform where teachers can be able, there are so many other ways as well where teachers can be able.
I don't believe, I know. Belief is when you don't know. I don't do anything which I believe. I do what I know. Very specifically use words when you talk to me. I will catch in between the words. Many people take words for granted. I never do that. Yeah, so belief is very bad. People keep believing. People keep talking about belief. You should know. Teachers should not believe. They should know. So this is a platform to know and share what you know to others. It could be anything. So I run a program. You have seen in the brochure there is what is called World Craft Social Craft Foundation. So you'll all become my ambassadors by joining from today onwards.
Okay, sir.
Okay. We have 5 more minutes to go. We have 2 guests joined. One of the guests is absent today because of some other meetings. And informally, I wanted to tell you the whole thing happened because I have a good friend of mine, Tripta, Dr. Tripta, who wanted some program. She just spoke to me, let us do some programs together. I said, fine. I thought I will do for Punjab, her College of Education alone. If that was my initiative, I am sure this many people will not come on videos. Because I had 2 programs in which I have seen teachers hiding behind camera and nobody was appearing. So I was unhappy and I said, you must change your college. Not you go out of the college, change the college with the gradual improvement. But then 3 days there was only 1 entry. Then I opened up to the rest of the country to show that there are better people in the other part of the world. Right? So this gives some opportunity. Otherwise I thought we will have only a chat. But then I thought, yes, we should have some sort of an interaction so that Anurima will make Tripta more active, because the most active person in this group was Anurima. Anurima, you can talk to Tripta. Anurima is with me for a long time. So Tripta is known to me for last 3 months.
Hello, Anurima.
Yeah, hello.
Avoid the word hello because that is a lady's name. That was the girlfriend of Alexander Graham Bell. Yeah. And I am sure I told Tripta and I told Anurima. So there is no hello in between. You can use namaste, namaskar, that is India.
Namaskar, Anurima.
Yeah.
Namaste. Namaste.
That's good.
I will take tips from you, Anurima. After this conference,
Yeah.
I will take tips.
Sure. Yeah. Actually, I felt that everybody should put their name, so I also had put my name in the chat box. Then I entered the meeting.
No problem. We have 3 more minutes to go. It is, I don't write on blackboard and then use the duster to clean it. I write it, it is written. It has to be just followed. You have every freedom. But within quotes.
Excuse me, Dr. TP.
Yeah.
Total participants, the number of total speakers.
38 are there. I have not checked how many entered.
Right, sir.
And as per the sequence in which they entered here, they will speak. I know generally in such programs there could be some 20% off. So still if you give some 2-3 minutes, it may go up to one hour, and we have 2 guests to speak because one of the guests is absent. I am not seeing the chat because that reduces the screen time, and our idea is we have 38 speakers and I have seen few of them who entered in the beginning, so I know the sequence, the rest I have not checked. The idea of conducting this whole program, came from Tripta. What is my motive? My motive is teachers need not to do only one-sided. When I go for any programs, Naresh Chandraji knows, and I am sure Gokulanji knows, and there are few more people here. We have people like Subodh who conducted maximum number of my programs. So what I do is I will make sure people interact. So I believe classes are to interact with teachers. If no interaction, that is not a class. That you can also record a video and send it. So I wanted to make this idea clear, and I was roaming around the world for last 10 years. Because of this COVID, I couldn't do. So I wanted to show at least this program. We have everybody on video. I'm sure it's hard to see people on video like this on webinars today, because everybody hides behind the camera. That's the normal practice, which I wanted to show. We have in this world some few teachers who are ready to show their faces, and there are few teachers who are ready to learn also. Teachers are supposed to learn. I am still a student. Therefore, what I thought is we will celebrate as per the United Nations perspective of looking at Teachers' Day for a very specific purpose. I am sure if you have not read, it is not my fault. Otherwise, you are supposed to read what Teachers' Day means. Teachers' Day is supposed to make sure teachers get their rights. 100% sure. But I keep saying teachers are actually the servants of students. Teachers are the servants of students because they pay you. They are paying. So you are supposed to be servants. And then we have in India right to education as one of the rights of every individual. If right to education is there, you also right to get good teachers. Because if you don't get good teachers, how do you get good education? So right to education is not going to school and then you have some useless person there who is blah 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 blah. I am copying Nileya's style of talking. And nothing is offered. It is not what is in the syllabus being given is the role of a teacher. What is outside the syllabus you can teach. I just had Mustafa talking to me just now, maybe 10 minutes before this program opened. And I asked Mustafa, do you want to join here? Immediately he said, yes. And he is here now. Because he wanted his students to interact with the Himachal Pradesh students. The request came only at 2 o'clock. Not from him, but one of his friend who is also my friend. I said, ask Mustafa to contact me to check how active is he. If he is not joining today, I would have just rejected his request. The leader himself has shown his interest, then I am sure he will be able to do something.
right? So that is what I wanted to show. We wanted to connect whole India. I've been traveling to Northeast every year to spend 10 days with children. Unikshan was supposed to be here. I don't know whether he's joined or not. He's the man who took me to Northeast. We used to have large programs. I spoke to maximum number of students and teachers in this country in the Northeast. They come and touch after my class. And they ask, why are you touching me? I want to go and back to my home and tell, I touched a Indian space scientist. That's how they say. Because for them, India is too far. They feel themselves are away from India. Northeast is such an abandoned place sometimes. I used to travel up to the corners, up to the border of China. And that was my social commitment. I thought after my retirement what I should do. Then during this COVID, I had a lot of activities, but nothing like this for teachers. First time I am doing it. But when I do, I wanted to do something different. And that is triggered by Tripta. Thank you very much, Tripta, for this. And thank you very much for your students for not responding. Otherwise, it would have been only Punjab students, B.Ed students. Because they were not responding, having announced a program, I need minimum 50 participants in front of me, I thought. So I opened it up to India. Immediately, many people responded. Thank you, Gokulanji. Thank you, my classmate. My classmate is Reverend Jose, who is running institutions in Jammu. And I had a friend of mine from Kashmir. So I thought I know Kashmir, I know Jammu, I have Northeast, I have Southwest, and I am in the middle of India. So Gokulanji also supported. Gokulanji not only gave names of people who are in Hyderabad, he gave names of people from other states like Bangalore also. And not that he gave Bangalorean's name. That teacher again connected me to some other teacher. I have not seen any other teacher connecting some other teacher. Only the assignment is given, they will do. They don't do anything extra. And that should be the extra light which you are carrying. And I have to tell, I went to Shillong and I stayed there for a few days, but I didn't have any teacher's contact. But my cousin was there who was also a teacher and who was like a patron for the school. I told her, give me some contact in Shillong. Immediately she gave the present Army Public School principal's name. He connected a lot of people. So you are all here. Thank you very much. And I will not speak. None of us will speak now from the part coordinators, the head, or maybe few people are there whose name I did not mention. Because many of them are sitting to know how good you do. Before that, we have two guests to go. One is Anusha from USA. And another one is Nilaya. Her name is Sylvia here. She is from Brazil. Why they are here? Because they are in communication and correspondence with me. That's it. That's the only reason. Those who are with me communicating, they will be with me. If they don't communicate, I don't go hunt behind somebody, right? There was one more person who actually wanted to be on this. He requested me to put him into this panel, so I put him, Ali. But I also was there in his school for a few days of lectures for teachers, training programs. Quality training program for teachers was one I did in his school very specifically. And the management belongs to my village. He is a friend of mine. The owner belongs to my district. So I know him perfectly well. And we do with some other activities also together. And he couldn't join. So we have only two guests. So that's why I took a little more time to speak. Otherwise, I thought I'll speak only 5 minutes. I took 3 more minutes extra as a privilege to make it good. So welcome Anusha and Nilaya. Whoever wants to go first, you can unmute and then start. Nobody is smart? Both of them are not smart or what?
Namaskaram everyone. Since there are some instructions of no greetings and like not to speak about what World Teachers Day is, so I would directly start with the point. And so what I have done was, like, I have gone ahead and looked at the dictionary meaning of a teacher, and it said that he or she is an educator or a person who helps students to acquire knowledge, competence, or virtue. And I have had a lot of teachers who have shaped my life, whether it be at home, school, or outside world. um, Firstly, I would say that the greatest teachers that I have known during my early childhood were my parents. And I still remember always asking them the question if they were really my parents or my parents have sent me to them, because they probably are my teachers, because of the way my mom used to prepare the question papers and make me write an exam. Like each and every day, including on holidays. And then my dad has always been a history lover, and hence he used to wake me up and used to ask me questions related to the important years in the history. And so that's how my childhood has been. And they have always emphasized the importance of a teacher in anyone's life, and have always taught me a valuable lesson that people become nothing without the blessings of their teachers. And hence, like, I have always been respectful towards all the teachers that I have come across in my life so far. And though, like, I have started off with a good foundation, there came an age which is generally, like, referred in India, I think, as monkey age. That's the teenage, where I kind of started drifting off my track, since I have been introduced to this whole outside world with a lot of freedom at once, and I didn't know like what and how to manage. But luckily, I was fortunate enough to be introduced to Dr. TP Shashikumar sir. Like, I mean, Dr. TP Shashikumar, touchwood, I would say that it was the best thing that had happened to me in my life, because he had lent me his hand and pulled me back onto the tracks, and has shaped my life ever since. I would sincerely say whatever I am today, it is all due to him. And I have always had a wish to have a teacher who would be like a role model figure to me, and would be with, like, abundance knowledge and aura around him or her, and would always be available to his or her students. And Dr. TPS, like, is such a teacher or mentor to me. And I don't think there must be even a single question of mine which was unanswered by him. And my first interaction with him was after his session in my college, when I sent him a text message asking if I could be his student. And like I sincerely never thought that he would actually respond to me, because when I looked at his credentials, like, he had done so many degrees, and then with so he had held a lot of higher positions and all that. And I thought, like, I never expected that he would respond to me even. But then immediately I have received a reply back saying that welcome, and you are my student from now on. And I think since that day until now, there has not been a single instance, I suppose, where I might have taken any decision or like any step without consulting him or seeking his blessings. So that has been the the bond, or the like, kind of interaction that we have been maintaining since past, I think, more than 10 years now. And he had been instrumental in increasing the curiosity in me, and in rekindling the passion for knowledge in me. So earlier, like during childhood, I had this passion for learning, education, and all that. But then, like, after certain age, I lost everything, and then again, like, his introduction into my life had rekindled all that. And again, like, I'm back on the tracks, and really, and trust me, like, I have learned that knowledge is power, and right attitude and goal settings are pivotal for one's success. Whether it be in any field, whether you are doing, whether you are in science, art, or whatever field you are in. So that's what is important. And I would like to sincerely thank him for all that he has been to me and has done for me in order for me to be who I am today. Thank you, Dr. TPS. And I think so. Thank you everyone for listening to my views, and I would say I would open up for any questions or interactions if anybody would have. So
Shall we put the interaction at the end if you will stay, or you are in the
yeah, I would like to listen.
Nilaya?
Thank you.
You didn't tell what are you now. Anusha, you could tell what are you and where are you, and if anybody could have a guess other than who knows Anusha, what age she is and what is that she is doing now. Gokulanji, can you just suggest or guess? Looking at her,
I think she's a research scholar or she's an educator. So she's very young.
Now you tell your experience, Anusha.
Okay, so I have met Dr. TPS during my early engineering years, and then so I have worked in Infosys in India.
How many years?
Around 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
And then I have moved to USA for doing my masters at MIT. And I have done my master's in information systems with design thinking and supply chain as my core subjects. And then I have worked with Cummins for around 2 years, and then I am and also I worked with Johnson & Johnson for about a year. And now I am currently working with Zimmer Biomet as a operation lead, leading the operations sector in an industry called PLM, Product Lifecycle Management. And yeah, that's about it.
And now doing her MBA in Kelly University.
Yeah. I am also pursuing my MBA from Kelly School of Business, and while also learning a lot of other things on side. So
and she finished her 3 years master's program in 1.5 years with 4 awards and then full scholarship for the education. Yeah. Nalaya.
Thank you.
Nilaya, yeah.
Okay. Can you hear me? It's okay?
Yes. Go ahead.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so what is this? This is a picture. I was preparing myself for this wonderful moment here in front of all of you that I believe are fabulous, wonderful, best person at this moment in front of me. And the moment I was putting myself together, I looked at this and I thought, this is teacher. A teacher is a bottle that contains a magical substance that can change the whole atmosphere, that can really change what is in front of you. There is no sign on it. Nobody, if you don't know what it is, you might not think about the value of what is inside of here. Because I was listening to Professor Dr. TPS, and he was talking about that we shouldn't pay the teacher to teach. It depends, Professor. In some places, like Brazil, sometimes the teachers pay to go to teach. And I say that because that was my experience. In 1997, I applied for a temporary job at Rio de Janeiro Federal University, to the Department of Physical Education, This is my undergrad. I am a licensed physical education and sports teacher. And I got my degree at the year 1984. And that was the first time I really got a job as official teacher to teach for college students. And the moment I went there to have the meeting with the head department team, blah, 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 so they showed me what was the subject about, and then they showed me how much I would be paid for twice a week, 4 hours each day. That in here, they say this is 20 hours teaching week. And the amount I was being paid would not be enough to all the costs, all the expenses of myself to move from my house, to go to teach, to get prepared, to feed myself. So at that moment, I took a breath, and then I had this idea. Well, I'm going to be paid to teach, so I'm going to do whatever I really wish. And I got the papers that the bank said about the subject. I put it down. And I said, that's a gift I'll give to myself. And that was really, really, really a gift. Because the first day I came in, and the students, they were so far away from me. They would not get close to me. And I was like in shock. So how can I teach if they don't come near me? So I developed a lot of strategies to get them come nearby me. And they were such wonderful, wonderful, wonderful humans. So then, I was thinking about that yesterday. And I felt like, wow, these days, we're very far away. I'm here in Brazil, you're there in India, and the US, everywhere. We are so far away, but we are connected, we are close. And we can teach, and we are doing this for more than a year, and we are connect. So, it changes my whole thing in the mind, because I thought that I could only teach if we had like eye-to-eye contact, and now I understand that teaching is beyond eye-to-eye contact. It goes, even though eye-to-eye contact is very important. That is the hard part. That's why for me it's very hard to teach all those squares. I only see squares. There's nobody, but I have to feel that there is somebody there, and because also this is about this. How can I know how? This is something quite that always keeps me in my mind, that because there was this moment when I was teaching in college, and if that was the funny thing, if I would say, evaluate that, the students would freak out, and that was like my power. I had the power. I was just thinking to myself like I have the power. I would say that. But why? Why? I was always thinking, why? So I decided to develop this evaluation method in which during the year, the semester, I taught to 50 students each semester. So I had 100 students. So I told my students, we shared into groups, and they proposed themes, important themes that would be important for them for life or the profession they were about to get into. And they had to do work and present the work to the whole, and everybody would evaluate everybody. So I told them, you get those grades, you do everything. I won't do nothing, because they are college students. They are about to go into a professional life, a professional career. So So they are supposed to understand what they're within. At college is the place where they can do mistakes. After when they go and become professionals, it's better not to make mistakes. So they have to prepare everything and put the grades and get the final grade. So then I got that paper with all those final grades and I called 1-to-1 in front of me and I said, this is your grade. Do you agree with that? And I made clear to them that whatever grade they told me I would write. From 100 students, how many students you say they would check for the best grade? None. I swear. None of them need to change their grade. Actually, some would say, oh, it's too high. Say, no, I won't put down. So that means that each student are wonderful teachers. And I do believe that, well, actually, we're not supposed to believe Professor said that. I thank you, everyone, but we're not supposed to say thank you. That is the hard part. That's the tough part of doing something. You need to follow rules. How do you move around in life? Find the way to escape those rules and to bring out the material you have inside. That's why I think about this. Because a perfume is a magical substance for me. It's like an alchemy. I use that a lot. When sometimes I need to be protected, I use a very strong perfume so people won't get nearby me. And I think that's what teachers are perfume that you offer protection, you offer ways of moving ahead. You're an offering person. But students are free. They should be free. They must have a choice. Because that's how life is supposed to be. Is it 5 minutes? I didn't get checking.
Yeah, you already crossed. Good enough. Thank you, Nilaya. I think the time is for Sushmita Chakrabarti, who joined first.
So I think it's Sushmita Mukherjee.
Yeah, Sushmita Mukherjee.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Teaching is a process that definitely requires a lot of patience. All of us want to say so many things, want to establish our ideas and views, and want everybody to listen to us and follow us. But we should always remember the fact that everybody wants to speak and tell their own points. As teachers, we give our lectures, and most of the time we want a calm and quiet classroom environment so that everybody can listen to us and understand our teachings properly. But great teachers should also be great listeners. The total process shouldn't be spoon-fed or data-fed. It is very necessary. It is very important that we give enough time and leave enough space for the students, or better to say learners, to share their views and opinions. Teachers should be patient enough to listen to them, even if they find them to be incorrect or seem to be very confusing. Being patient implies paying attention to their doubts, their confusions, and their uncertainties. They must be allowed to make their own discoveries, and that is only possible if we are patient enough to hear them, follow them. try to understand them. We teachers are always bombarded with many types of students, many types of learners. Some are fast learners, some are slow learners. Different students, they work in different ways. They have their own pattern of working. Their minds work in a different way. We teachers, it is very necessary that we should never be biased. We should never be biased in a classroom environment. We find only a handful of students to be expressive and communicative. Not only in the classroom environment, but everywhere, we find a handful of members to be very communicative. And the reason, as I think, is behind their fear of presenting their own views correctly, or by rejecting, or being rejected by the teacher. And very often we see this because teachers, they get restless and they don't have so much patience to hear to them. But if the student feels it comfortable to present their views to the teacher or interact with the teacher, then we can definitely get a good number of finer speakers in the class. Students should also learn to be patient from the teacher. Patience at the same time doesn't only mean to be passive or passivity. Patience has strong power. It's an emotionally freeing practice to wait for the speakers, to watch them, to know them when they are acting and when not to. Competent teachers means we say these teachers are good, these teachers are bad, should wait, according to me, patiently while the students master their new knowledge properly. They should be given some time. We give them knowledge and it is not so mechanical that we always are in a hurry that whatever we say, they will master it. It's not a mechanical process. They should be given some time to master them and to absorb them. Students need to be patient too. Being patient helps the student to understand the topics given to them fast, removing rush from their minds, and these only help them to have better ideas. Again, this patience creates a thoughtful outlook. If they think quietly of the topic, then they can easily get into the topic properly and the process can be very fast. So, it is very necessary that patience we all should have. Patience only can bring success. Thank you.
Yeah, I just allowed it to go. It took little more time. And I called it two names. One was Susmita and also I said Chakrabarti. I called two names always. Number 1 and 2. Whoever jumps first, they will get the chance. I think Chakrabarti was waiting but not responding. Now again Chakrabarti and third one is Ashwati. Whoever wants to go, they can jump.
I am there.
Yeah, jump fast.
Hello, myself Kamnashish Chakrabarti. I would like to just say that teaching entirely depends on how we can inculcate the habit of creative thinking among the children. It's the critical thinking which needs to be developed among the children, and we as a teacher has to work on that. Now what happens now, the present situation, when all the information is readily available, somewhere the creative thinking is not taking place among the children. So as a teacher, I feel that we have to create such an environment where children can think beyond the box. Okay, they think something new, they come up with the new ideas. And yes, when they come up with a new idea, we also should be ready to accept it. Unless and until we accept those ideas, somewhere again those ideas will lose its shine, like we'll not be able to get it back. Because as our country needs more ideas. We need more ideas, we need some innovations, good thinking. And this is possible when we all teachers create such environment in the classroom okay, inside or outside the classroom, or four walls of a classroom, outside the four walls of classroom. I think that will be wonderful. Thank you.
Again, I called Chakrabarti. The Chakrabarti should know that he is the first one who entered. That was another Chakrabarti. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, jump. That's what I'm saying.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. DPS. So I'm Soumitra Chakravarti from Bengal. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Deva, Maheshwara. So the relation between guru and student is dependable. Parasparasari. Without anyone, one can't exist. So actually, my process on reciprocal one, that student should participate in the class, and that participate will be active. And how it will be active? By questioning. That means teacher will motivate students to ask questions. Just like Gita, where Arjuna and Krishna. And one thing to I mention here, that is the environment, the relation between teacher and student, that have to be focused, because many students getting afraid to their teachers. But in Gita, Arjun and Krishna relation was as a friend. So I think that relation is also important to cultivate the qualities into the students, so that the teaching process would be both way, in teacher's way and in the student's way, so that it will be interesting and much more discovering, recovering, whatever you say. That's all. That's my answer.
Ashwati.
Teacher. Who is a teacher? Who should be a teacher? It's not just about imparting knowledge. It should be shade that stands with any crisis into the physical, mental, and emotional spaces. Children should be taught to live in social life. Man must taught to be recognized man. We need to be able to respect adults and to love to anyone without giving up selfishness. Children need to be taught to accept real life situations. Academic excellence alone does not determine a child's future. Achieved high marks, so many people are going backwards. Those who are lagging behind in their studies are successful in their life. What is the reason for this? Word change is needed. That's we call Gandhiji's thought. By education, I mean an all-round drawing of the best in child and man, in body and spirit. Thank you.
Amrita Roy.
All right. Greetings to all. Sorry, I couldn't just start without greeting everyone. When we talk about quality of teaching, it has a direct relation with the quality of teacher, because quality of teaching is directly proportional to quality of teachers. If the teacher is good, the subject becomes interesting to the students, especially for students at school level. If the teacher is able to clarify the concepts properly and clearly to the students, they find the subject more, easy to grasp. And the case is vice versa. So that is why I say quality of teaching is directly proportional to quality of teachers. Now, as far as role of teachers is concerned, I feel that it's not just being about mere facilitators. A teacher exerts profound influence as far as bringing about transformation in children, disciples, or students is concerned. I have no intention of demeaning the present generation of teachers, but I feel that teachers need to be someone who need to bring about holistic change, all-round change and development in children. For example, Gautam Buddha was a teacher. Mahavir Jain was a teacher. So they brought profound changes, transformation in the students, and not just passing knowledge. Of course, as Anusha said rightly in the beginning, that knowledge is power, and most importantly, relating the bookish knowledge with the real world is a task which a teacher should do. And as DrTPS rightly said in the beginning, that teaching is not all about teaching what is given within the syllabus, but teaching something which is outside. And that happens when a teacher links the subject matter with what's happening in the real world and is able to give some extra knowledge and is able to expand the scope of knowledge of the students and is able to make the student relate the knowledge with the practical world, with the real world. So that's what I really think about, the role of teachers as far as the role of teachers is concerned. I personally, being a teacher, I really find this profession the most passionate and the most, exciting of all professions, because teachers can stay young for many, many years. They are constantly growing. They are not static. They are ever dynamic. We just don't teach in a classroom. We also get to learn a lot. For example, I myself have learned tremendously from my students when it comes to taking online classes. There are many things, technical aspects, which I have learned from my children, and they have happily lent their services to me. I mean, they have happily shared their knowledge with me. One interesting fact I would want to share is that I read somewhere a long time back that when we talk about the modern day professions, most professions are sedentary professions. We are sitting and doing the work. But teaching is one such profession where a teacher gets to move, pace up and down, and a teacher gets to stay physically fit. It's the most healthy profession next to nursing. So this is what I wanted to share with you, and thank you all for giving me this opportunity.
Dr. Smita could go.
When we talk about life, the future, education, we talk about our life, then we can't complete it without teacher. So teacher is a personality with a lot of potential to channelize the life of the students in a better way and assured to create an exposure with a quality enhancement. What is quality? The teacher is a building block of society. Our personality is like a sculpture to cast the personality of each human being. He's a guiding light to show the path towards eternity. He's like an ocean with full of pearls which promote the integrity, accountability, humanity, and patriotism. When we're talking about support, mentor, helping hand, we always think of the heart of the teacher, which is the education, who inspires us to make life a step forward. Because of teacher, here we are interacting with each other. I'm very glad to share with you, my mother is my teacher. She told me what is right, what is wrong. She inculcated the thoughts of great things, the values, the moral values. She always told me that doing good for others is not a duty. It is a joy. Because of a mother teacher, I'm able to say the positivity and encouragement which brightens my life. I played the role of Rajmata Jizau Ma Sahib, mother of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, in the first historical Marathi movie. And so it gives me immense pleasure to share with all of you, to highlight and to strengthen our responsibilities towards each other. Because a mother of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, how she built up the nation, how she built up the Swaraj is very important. And so the teacher is not only a person who helps us to acquire the knowledge, competence, but teacher teaches us how to think, to be a human being, to be a friend, to be a philosopher with the values of real world. So from 28 years, I am working in this profession as teacher, as a writer, as a poet, and as an administrator, as a NAC assessor, as a principal, as a UGC, on executive council member. When I'm talking about all these things, definitely every teacher is a student because he knows how to get rid of each and every calamity. He knows how to think. He knows how to create. He knows how to deliver, how to express. So the teacher, when teaches us, he tells us, if I can, I can. If I cannot, I cannot. So the ignited minds are more powerful than any thermonuclear weapons. And the teacher is like just ignited mind who express his divinity, dignity, potential within us. And so the teacher charges us with confidence. And definitely I salute each and every teacher in our heart, the learning student in our heart. Thank you. Yes, TPS.
Yeah. Nisha Nair. Niyogi. Yeah.
A teacher should have a positive impact in the life of her students. We always say that a teacher should be respected. I believe that a teacher should be a friend and we should respect our students as human beings. It's only when we give respect to our students that we can claim that you should respect your teachers. A teacher should be always open for all kind of suggestions and should be a student herself. And with the changing education system, like how we have been experiencing it in the past 2 years, the system of education in itself has changed. From the classroom teaching, where we used to go stand and deliver the lecture, the system has completely changed. Now, from preparing the lesson plans, we spend our time preparing PPTs so that the classroom interaction becomes more powerful. So we should keep ourselves, we should improvise ourselves. Along with being a teacher, we should also be a student and we should keep ourselves updated. And we should never, I strongly believe that we should never give up on any of our students. The day we feel that I cannot do it, I cannot teach this student, we cannot claim ourselves to be a teacher. We should always have that, the comfort level and the confidence in ourselves that yes, I can do this. I can make a small difference in the life of a student, I have achieved a lot. And if my student feels that yes, I can always count on to my teacher, I have achieved something in my life. And a great teacher is not a person who has a lot of degrees. In spite of having a lot of degrees also, you can still not claim yourself to be a good teacher. But if you have the patience, perseverance, and the passion towards the teaching learning process, which is a lifelong process, which is a never-ending process, then definitely you are a great teacher. Thank you.
Sushavan Yogi. Sushavan Yogi is around. Deepika Bharadwaj. After that, Ami Bilai.
An ideal teacher is like a glowing lamp that burns itself to bring the student out from the darkness of ignorance and fills their life with the light of knowledge. An ideal teacher is like a role model in the life of every student whom he loves to follow blindly. A good teacher helps students almost in every walk of life to achieve their goal. Even in our ancient literature, the role of teacher has been described as more than God in the life of a student. However, not every teacher can be called an ideal teacher. He needs some special qualities to achieve this level. And these are: a good teacher should be passionate about teaching. He should try to mold an inattentive class into attentive one. The teacher must know how to grab the attention. He should be attentive to one and all and try to bring out the best out of them. He should create a positive environment so that every student would love to come to attend his class. He should possess good classroom management skill and communication skill. He should encourage the students to ask questions related to the topic to clear their doubts, if any. He should always keep himself updated with the latest developments in his knowledge to based upon the latest trends. The teacher should not use the sentences like please listen to me, please keep quiet, please study hard, because the teachers are not beggars. Instead, they should command. Although it is not easy to acquire all these qualities, but it is not impossible as well. We should remember that practice makes man perfect. If one have a strong determination and strive hard, then it is quite possible to install all these qualities and become a good teacher. That's all. Thank you.
Yeah, Ami Bilay. Subhajit Dubey.
Yes.
Yeah.
Am I audible or not?
Yes, very much.
I think somebody's, audio is off. Audio is on. If you could kindly turn it off, then my voice will not echo. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, Dr. T.P. Shashikumar, coordinators, learned teachers present in this symposia. I, Shubhajit Dev, a resident of Siliguri, West Bengal. I want to speak on technologically aided teaching in the 21st century. For a long time, the teaching system has been criticized for lacking effective learning techniques or skill-based learning. Technology-based education seems one step towards revolutionizing education for the better. Of late, over 12,000 schools across 560 districts in India have adopted smart classes. This means that classrooms are adopting technology by having digital learning tools such as computers, projectors, document readers, graphics, drawing tablets, etc. The digital learning is user-friendly, self-explanatory, and makes the process more engaging and interesting. Use of graphics simplify concepts of difficult subjects like mathematics, biology, chemistry, physics, etc. It increases students' engagement, motivation, and accelerates learning. For toddlers, technologically aided learning involves the use of all their senses while learning in a playful manner. With technology, educators, students, and parents have a variety of learning tools at their fingertips. Technology supports learning 24/7 and builds the set of skills a teacher requires in the 21st century. Teachers can now communicate with others across the world, meet the shortcomings of their works, thus providing their students with their best. It gives students spontaneous access to abundant quality information, which accelerates learning pace. Online teaching is now accredited and is effecting transformation for the way we see education. Students and now even professionals resort to online education as part-time or full-time course. One can access it from anywhere and at any time. It eliminates time, travel, and cost for the students. It is often said that eyes work more than ears. It is the mantra behind the widespread use of technological tools in a teaching simulation. Technology in education is preparing the students for precisely next generation. Indian government is not ignorant to the development and has come up with National Mission on Education through ICT, which in the present day stands for Information and Communication Technology, and which was effected in the Indian subcontinent in the year 2009 by the Ministry of Human Resource and Development. Thank you. I thank you for your patient hearing.
Again, Niyogi, Ashwin Jindal, Ashmin Jindal, Niyogi.
A good teacher is not that hard to find, but you must know where to look. The good teachers are well prepared in advance for their goals and for their even educational goals, mainly. They prepare their plan and action every day to ensure maximum productivity. Teachers have a lot of knowledge about everything, especially in the subject they specialize. So, most importantly, a good teacher expands their knowledge, continues to provide good answers to their students. So, I just have one, life experience of my own, which I truly want to share with you guys. That is, being a physics honors graduate, postgraduate, people usually had the misconception regarding me that I had very keen interest in science. But if you have asked me this thing, approximately 6 to 7 years back, I would have said no, I have no interest in sciences. But actually, this is the hard work of my science teacher, especially at my school level, who developed my interest in sciences that very much through, projects and assignments and activities. Me and my science teacher, usually in my morning assembly time, before the classes, we have morning assemblies, in the schools. So during that time, my teacher, along with my science teacher, we used to work on a, project for I remember that I prepared a project regarding to acid rain in a very, creative manner. So that really impacts me, and I really appreciate my teacher for that, to inculcate the scientific attitude in me. So most importantly, a good teacher is the one who does not merely focus on your academic performance, but actually your overall performance. So only then a student can truly grow. The good teachers will understand their students' problem and try to deal them with correctly. They make the student feel like they always have someone to talk to, even if they don't have to talk a person at home, or they can't even talk to their friends. So in my opinion, a good teacher is the one with whom we can communicate with without any hesitation, without any, fear. One more thing, actually, I interacted with Dr. TP just a day before this meeting, and I really felt grateful to talk to him. And Dr. TP, you really do have the aura of like a good teacher, and I have never, it's not good to say, but I have never came across a person like you. So yeah, that's it.
Sheetal, or those who missed earlier, I called twice, I think Niyogi. Sheetal, Niyogi.
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, I went out of the meeting due to some network issues, and now I'm back once again. So the thing that I want to talk about is education technology. Like after the outbreak of pandemic, like most of us did face some problems, But the people who faced the problems the most was the senior teachers. So being a teacher in this World Teachers Day, I'd like all the teachers to give their helping hand to their senior teachers so that the bulk of knowledge they have, they can deliver that to us. But due to some technological problems or due to some technological inefficiencies, they can't cater that to us. So we should come forward and we should help the other teachers also, like the senior teachers, so that we all can deliver with the rapid change of time that we are experiencing. So that is all that I want to say in this platform on the World Teachers Day. That's all, sir.
Sheetal. Ruchitapa.
Yes. Good evening to everyone. Most of the teachers I've heard till now, they've spoken about the quality of teachers. I am going to talk about quality teachers in current scenario in our country. Slightly different, but I hope you agree with me. Translating schooling into learning is a critical challenge that can only be achieved by a teacher who's well trained. In our country, there is no systematic sieve that can ensure the entry of meritorious individuals into the teacher education force. For most of the teachers, teaching is a second career choice. So how can we expect them to give 100% into the teaching learning process? This is the question we have to ask ourselves if we want to address the need or the requirement of a quality teacher for our future generations. Now, in India, we have around 17,000 teacher education institutes producing surplus poor quality teachers. Okay. The CTET exams that is being conducted yearly are requisite for all the teachers to get a job. The pass percentage is only 25%. You all must be aware of that. So why is that happening? That is the question we need to ask ourselves. Teacher education in our country is under National Council for Teacher Education and its 4 regional committees. Now, most of the institutes or the programs recognized by these regional institutes are 90% of them are privately owned. So, selling degrees is quite common, and not even attending one class and securing the degree is commonly heard by most of us. And these teachers coming out of these institutes with degrees in their hands, I believe for them teaching is an experiment and students are their specimens. So in the end, I would just like to say that as a mother and as a teacher, I just hope that the implementation of the new education policy will bring about the change that is required in our education system. And of course, the quality of teachers, as everyone has been pointing out till now, becomes not only necessary, but the passion which the process requires is also involved. Thank you.
Jessica.
Yes. Namaskar, everyone. My voice. In the words of APJ Abdul Kalam, teachers are the pillars of our country, the backbone upon which the aspirations are converted into realities. This quote rightly presents the significance of a teacher, and history defines that great teachers were always behind great leaders. I believe a teacher is the one who imparts values and teaches us to do the same in our surroundings. Because as far as value remain, all other teachings including science, maths, chemistry, English can be acquired. To begin with, I would like to talk a little about my mother, who is my first teacher. She never taught me numerals and alphabets. She taught me life. She taught me how to stay strong when every situation pulls you down. She taught me how to love and value what you have. She taught me how to stay grounded because freedom comes to those who keep one foot on the ground. Isn't it a most important teaching for a child just learning to be happy and successful in life? Moving ahead, I realized I needed a path. It was then when my teacher told me to stay calm and work hard. Because even if you fall, your dedication could make you rise. It was then when I learned perseverance, true hard work, and willingness to work. I share these anecdotes from my life because I feel a teacher is someone who enriches these values within you, that helps you to navigate through life and find your true purpose. My second observation is that a teacher is not necessarily a living being. Nature, which teaches us to stay calm, water, which teaches us to dissolve, air, that teaches us to continue our struggles without making any noise, and above all, sky, which teaches us to face every criticism with an open heart. Are they not our teachers? To sum up, I would like to say that our surroundings and people who anchors us back to our values bring life back to us and allow us to do the same of ideal teaching. Thank you.
Now, Sheetal, Vaishnavi, Amibile, Sulekha.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good evening. Good evening, sir. So it's my great opportunity to be the part of this platform, and I thank Unikrishnan sir to be making me the part of this. I'm from Arunachal Pradesh and teacher of Vivekananda Kendra Vidyalaya. So the quality of a teacher, I want to say that is, teacher is like a mentor, should be like a mentor who have an important part in students' life. Not only being part in the school, but also being part in their own home. Frequently, we can go and meet the students at home so that the bond between student and teacher be as a friend. If they face any difficulties, they will be free to share. So, mentor, teacher being a mentor, it's very important. And next, students are like seeds, and we teacher, we have to pour water to a seed so that when it grows into a big tree, it will have a very bright future. So, being a mentor and accept the challenges to make the students a strong person in the future. Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, namaskaram everybody. So, we need different types of teachers in different stages of our lives. So, as all of us surely agree, a mother is our first teacher. Then coming to kindergarten, we need teachers who are having this motherly nature, and they can teach us the basic foundations of education as well as the moral values that we need in our life. And in primary school, the students start spending most of her time in school for the first time, a place outside the home. So the teachers there should be friendly, and they impact the students a lot. So an incident that happened in one of my friend's life, when she was in primary school, one of her teachers in class by mistake said that Rome is the capital of Italy. So when the child went back home and told this to her parents tried to correct her, saying that no, Italy is the capital of Rome, and she was not ready. She was not ready to accept it. She was like, no, my teacher can never be wrong. So her parents had to go to the school and talk to the teacher, and then the child agreed that okay, her teacher slipped tongue, and such is the trust of students on the teachers, and every word of the teacher has such an impact on the child in her primary school. Coming to high school and college, the students get exposed to many things, both good and bad. So in high school and college, our teachers should be such that they can make us aware of what is right and what is wrong, and they can help us discovering ourselves while exploring the opportunities around us. So at any point of time in our lives, teachers should be ones who make learning a fun activity. So I've been very lucky to experience such teachers that I could talk about them like this. And the attention of a teacher towards the student is enough to mold the life of any child. We can see it in various examples, like Swami Vivekananda and Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, his attention was enough to make Swami Vivekananda the world leader that we know today. So, and when the child gets attention from the teacher, they feel automatically free to talk to the teacher and ask any questions or doubts that they have. So the teacher's attention to the student and the student's ability to ask the right questions would make a perfect teacher-student pair. Thank you.
Yeah, there are a few missed, probably I called 2-3 times. Otherwise, next is John.
Teacher is a versatile and an epitome of knowledge and wisdom. I experienced a teacher as a dynamic person who has his psychological prospect as counselor and as a philosopher. I saw a teacher who enters into the school campus with a graceful smile, leaving all her frustrations, family burdens, and everything at the gate. Whatsoever the family situations are, the teacher never ever expresses them in front of the students. In the modern world, the teacher faces multiple challenges. The students whom they taught a year ago are lost or uncared for at present. Teacher with utmost delicacy molds them and speaks to them, caresses them. Now, the children who were addicted to smart games have to be more gently handled. It is their way or their life that they are going to lose. Teacher is one who always stays with the students, who understands, who just concerns about the family. And teacher tries to mold the students, not by harsh speaking, not by scolding, not by reciprocating to any of the corporal punishments. Coming back to a teen student, it is something very different. A teen student needs to be handled much more delicately than a kindergarten student. Teacher needs to be more versatile. Teacher needs to adjust and understand the psychological situation of that particular student. In this regard, I would like to just bring forward to everyone a teen student who is addicted to a smartphone or watching fashionable videos always has the tendency to represent or disguise themselves with such behavior or such attitude or the case. And in this regard, teacher is the one who has a primary initiative to change such students' behavior or make them understand, speak to them like a family friend or like a parent. And more than that, the teacher is the one who stands by the student. Coming back to the other most important thing where a student needs to be taught by a teacher is reliability, being honest, showing respect towards the peer group, towards the teacher, towards the elder, and towards the society. There should be a healthy respect that has to be communicated by a teacher. It is not a religious aspect that has to be communicated. Never ever a teacher has to resort to religious or any divisional sort of teaching. And I believe, and more, I know that a teacher is an epitome of knowledge and wisdom. The reason is the teacher always resorts to application-oriented concepts, giving wings to the thoughts of children in the class. And by giving the wings to the children's thoughts, teacher always cross-checks them, corrects them, but not by not giving punishment. It is by appraising them always, by standing with them, understanding them. And never a teacher compares the other students' marks or his or her performance. Finally, I would like to conclude, teachers are the ones who never demand the riches from the students. Teachers are the ones who stand and who always understand a student in the classroom and outside of the classroom and follow them everywhere. And that's where a life moral values are being taught to the student when they are very young in the classroom by a teacher. Thank you.
Farooq.
Hello, greetings to all of one. Yeah, actually, so far when we talk about the teaching learning process, I think different theories have come forward from time to time to explain the teaching learning process. The first and the foremost theory that came forward to explain the teaching learning process is the behaviorism school of thought. Actually, when we talk about this behaviorism school of thought, this school of thought emphasizes that the foremost important thing for a student to learn the thing is the behavior. For that, we have to create the environment. When the environment is created in the school, it becomes very easy for the student to learn the things. For example, in this case, I would like to cite a very small example of Noam Chomsky. He's a linguist. Once he was actually asked that how a kid learn the language. He told him that the language elements are actually within the kid. It's only the environment that shapes him, and that actually makes him to speak. The language elements are within him. It's only the environment that triggers that innate ability out. So afterwards, when this school of thought came into existence, so many people came forward that it's not only the environment that makes the learning possible. There are many other factors that makes the learning possible. So one more school of thought came into existence, that's cognitive school of thought. The cognitive school of thought actually lays emphasis that it is the heredity. If someone's parents, if someone's family members are very genius, it is obvious that their siblings are they will definitely be having very high IQ. So when this school of thought came into existence, so many people start to believe it, that actually it is the cognitive school of thought. It is the cognitive elements within a student that makes him to learn. But this school of thought later on actually have some drawbacks, and this school of thought, with the passage of time, got discarded. But the latest and the recent one that we now have in our schools, that is the constructivism school of thought. The constructivism school of thought lays emphasis on one point, that when a topic is introduced in the class by a teacher, the foremost thing that a teacher should do in making the students learn that topic is that he should introduce that topic by means of an activity. Once an activity is done in that topic, this concept becomes very concrete among the students. The students never lose that concept. They never forget that concept. And teachers have just only to do one thing in this school of thought, in this modern concept of learning, that he has to just only facilitate the students where the students find the things very difficult, wherever they find any hot spot. When the students find anything very difficult to learn, teacher had to facilitate there. He had to facilitate them, and he had to make the alternatives. Because the teacher is always at a higher potential in so far the knowledge is concerned, and the students are at the lower potential. Whereas the higher potential actually feels that the students have some problem with the learning, the teacher should just come forward and he should facilitate their things. Because I am teaching the students at the elementary level, and I have got this experience. And so when the school, and later on one more school of thought came into existence, that's humanistic approach. Humanistic approach, let's emphasize that a teacher should actually inculcate such a quality in the student that he should not actually make him that confined with the classroom. He should actually make him to learn to face. Actually, the classroom is a place where a student should be get ready to face the real life situations. When if the teacher has succeeded in making the student to connect the knowledge, the learn that he learns with the real life, then I think his teaching is successful. So in nutshell, I can say a teacher has been actually defined as sculptor. A sculptor is a person who makes the statue out of the stones. Once a sculptor has been said that how you make the statue out of the stones, the sculptors told them that the stone is the statue is actually inside the stone. I just remove the extra stones out of with the tools. So a teacher is same like in the classroom. He's a sculptor. He can make the statue out of the students behind before him or the stones. He can design them any sort of the statue. For example, if the teacher wishes them to be the doctors, if the teacher wishes them to be the scientists, to be the philosophers, it is up to the teacher, because teacher is a sculptor in the classroom. When he try to wish them to frame that, and I think he can definitely frame that. So I think it's a very small time to explain these teaching learning process and what a teacher should be within these 2 or 3 minutes. I think it may take hours and hours to actually, when we explain this role of a teacher, what a teacher should be on the basis of the B.Ed programs, on the basis of the M.Ed programs that we have actually gone through. Thank you very much.
Sohini Bhattacharya.
Yes, namaste. So as we don't have to, introduce ourselves, so I will just start with a direct topic. The teaching and learning activities are like a twin activity, okay? Like both are involved in total education process. So teaching and learning are closely related and they are reciprocal to each other. I'm sure those who are into this profession, you would agree to this. Teaching cannot be taught without an idea of learning. So we need learning and teaching together. So they are both very, very important. So as I have learned, I would just like to share one example. When my teacher, in 10th standard, I was a very mediocre in mathematics. So who was a great teacher? Okay, so she used to always tell me that you should never learn or by heart any theorems or anything which is taught. So it happened to me that every time during my maths exam time, I used to always learn the triangle Pythagoras theorem, whether it is AC square or something like that. I used to always by heart. She was the only teacher who has actually changed my life, and today what I am is because of her in my 10th standard. When she taught me that you should not by heart, you have to understand the concept. That is something which a teacher should have. They should understand the concept. And immediately during the exam time, she came to me. She said, your Pythagoras theorem is not AC with ABC square, but it is with PQR. Okay, so that is how it changed me. And then I was like, okay, we should not by heart things. And that is how things changed for me. Throughout my life, I've been taught by many teachers. But who is a great teacher? She needs to be a good communicator. Okay, a teacher should communicate with their children. That is very important. A teacher also should have the friendship. That is also very. Sometimes a teacher is scared to talk to a child because the child is so hesitant. But no, we have to show that we have to bring up about from the child, and we should make sure that the child is not scared of you. Okay, so the teacher should develop a friendship. The teacher should have patience, which is very important in our profession. We need to be patient. If we are not patient, then this profession is not our profession. Patience is very key factor in teaching. A great teacher builds character. It inspires dreams of our students. It encourages the creativity of the people, of the students. Then it builds confidence. And it also makes the learning a fun activity. And teachers also need to touch our heart. That is very important, a key point of being a greatness of a teacher. Great teacher sends a sense of community and belongingness in the classroom. So the mutual respect is only when there is a belongingness in the classroom among the students. A teacher should be warm, accessible, enthusiastic, and very, very caring. So a great teacher can have such kind of quality, and then only they will be able to set the high expectation for all the students. So this teacher, the realization of the teacher expectation she has on her students is greatly affect the achievement. Her achievement is how she is able to get the sense of community belongingness, how she is able to access the students with a strong communicator, how she is able to impart the moral values. Okay, that is also very important, and developing the self-confidence among the students. Thank you.
Divya, Janvi.
Should I start?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. By the grace of the Guru, a disciple becomes a Pandit, even without any books. This is a quote by Swami Vivekananda which shows us in few words the importance of having teachers in our life. Teachers are inarguably the most important members of the society. They are the ones who build children and give them purpose for life. They are the ones who build the leaders for tomorrow. They are the ones who provide support system to the children and become their role model and inspire them to go further and dream bigger. Teachers come from all walks of life. And from different walks of life, they bring different types of knowledge for their students and impart them with that knowledge. I would like to share a personal anecdote with such a teacher I had in my 10th grade, which was a pivotal moment for my life. It was, and I remember this anecdote quite vividly in my mind. So I remember entering the 10th grade, and I wasn't the smiley, happy to go girl. I was the one which did not smile. And there was this teacher in my class. She was my homeroom teacher. Her name was Efricia Matthias, and we would call her Effie Miss. She was such a teacher that even though she seemed strict, but she was the most kind and soft-hearted teacher I had ever met. She was the one who supported me and guided me and encouraged me and got me out of my shell, and that is my comfort zone, to reach my potential. She also taught me to fight for myself and also fought for me. She is the one who also criticized me when I was wrong and complimented me when I was right. Most of all, she was one of the most understanding people I've met in my life. When I would have a problem and I would go to her, she would listen to my problem, understand it without being judgmental or just being plain sympathetic. She would listen to it full of empathy and provide me practical solutions with it. To sum it all up, I had been privileged to have known such a phenomenal teacher in my life, as she holds a really huge place, an important place in my heart and my life. Thank you, Doctor.
Yeah, Divya. Divya, I'm seeing.
Yes. So, as a teacher, every day I'm in this pure. Yes, sir, can't you hear?
Yeah, you are audible. Continue.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Let this purity continue. And children are just like wet cement or clay. As you mold, so the shape will be. So the teacher should always be a living example for the students. And I felt I'm very lucky to have such teachers in each and every step of my life and my education. Especially my teachers, Rimaneshwara Garu also. And they have shown me the way to follow the punctuality, simplicity, honesty, and integrity. I, as a teacher and as a learner, try my level best to follow these as an example for my children to implement. To me, teaching is nothing but influencing my children in a good manner to reach the real purpose of their life. There are lots of teachers since my first class, but I remembered a few because they haven't taught me just the book, but also the way of living. So I want to become a teacher who is unforgettable to my children. Thank you.
Bhakti Aravind Deshmukh.
Namaskar. Our education sector has seen many reforms, especially in last few years, and the teachers have always strived to potentially fulfill the demands of ever-changing situations and challenges. But a dimension of education which I feel has been slightly ignored over the years, and which in my opinion is the most important one, is moral education. The ancient India is known for its Gurukul system, where the moral education was the basis of the education as a whole. But it has changed over the years. The ultimate aim of teachers is never just to train brilliant brains out of their students, but also to help shape great minds. As teachers, if we succeed in making our students capable of grabbing really good career opportunities, but at the same time, if we fail to make them good human beings, it will eventually all go in vain. Therefore, I feel it's time for every teacher to actively recognize their responsibility of inculcating moral values in their students and find innovative ways of doing the same. The most significant role that a teacher can possibly play in the present times for shaping the future of their students and of the nation in turn is of a moral educator. All of us have had subjects like personality development and social service at school levels, but those were only graded subjects and did not contribute to the final percentage of students. And therefore it was observed that most of the times they were not taught or learned seriously. I strongly believe that these subjects should be given equal weightage as of other papers. And teachers should not hesitate to go the extra mile to teach their students the difference between right and wrong, the moral values of honesty, dedication, truthfulness, patriotism, and qualities of love, compassion, and empathy. Morality and character, individuality and community, civic studies, cultural studies are the four pillars of moral education, which can be established through various interactive teaching methods, which include discussions, dialogues, storytellings, classes outside of the classrooms, and enacted illustrations with students' participation. With all of this, I hope all the teachers can inculcate really good values and ethics in their students, which are really important. And I feel we should all collaboratively focus on the moral aspect of education to bring out the fundamental goodness of human beings and society at large. Thank you.
Sanjit Mandal, Nila, Sujit Kumar Datta.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Good evening. Teachers maintain many techniques. I would like to emphasize one of them techniques is measuring students' weakness and its remedy. Generally, many teachers, not all teachers, teach in a class maintaining routine-wise class lectures. But I think routine-wise class lecture is not sufficient for all students equally. So teachers have to measure the weakness of the students, and after that, teachers should arrange an additional remedial class for the students to overcome from their weakness. Every student has no dual needs capacity due to their environmental, family background, merit, and their unequal opportunities. So, like a gardener, teachers should treat their student. The gardener takes extra care the sapling which are weak and need nutrition. The teacher should have the patience to know the weakness of the student through full and polite discussion without any hesitation. Give the students who are average and backward get the opportunities to overcome from their weakness in intrinsic way. I think teaching learning process would be more effective.
Sulekha, Sujit Kumar Datta. Nila.
Good evening. Good evening, all. Am I audible?
Yes, very much.
It's very interesting to listen to the views expressed by our teachers, and many of the views have been eye-openers also, and I'm sure many of us will agree with what I've just said. They've been eye-openers as well. Well, we are familiar with a saying which says, teachers affect eternity. But, at the present time, I mean, the war that we are fighting now, for example, the war that we are fighting now, the COVID war, it's a unique war. And who stood by the nation? Very true, doctors and nurses. But other than them, it was teachers. Teachers were faced with, they had to grapple with technology. They were not trained in this field. Many of us, I for myself, we were not trained in this field. Yes, we did have sessions once in a year, but then, who would be so serious about it? The requirement came last year. We really had to grapple with technology. But did we say no? Did we step back? No. We stood by our students. I think this is the nature. This is our nature, It becomes teaching is not a profession with us anymore. I think teaching is an attitude, not to give the wrong implication. Teaching has become an attitude with us. So I feel, just the other day, there was somebody who had gone for KBC, Kaun Banega Crorepati, and there was a teacher who asked Mr. Amitabh Bachchan for a standing ovation for the teachers. I don't think we need to ask for such kind of respect. It should come from the heart. Now, how does it come? It is our students, We should not just be judgmental about our students. I think we should allow our students to judge us. And we know where we stand. Yes, we know it is very important to be flexible, to be patient. Yes, we are doing all that. We are. But don't you think we should allow our students to assess our performance? If we can come up to that, then I think we are successful. If we can touch just one life, change just one student's life, if we can win their confidence, I think, keeping aside our academics, that will come. Because the values, somebody just mentioned, teaching moral values. I don't think we really need to teach moral values. It cannot just come in books and exercise books. It is through what we teach. They should learn these values. I have this to say. Thank you so much.
Meenakshi.
Sir, am I audible, sir? Hello, am I audible, sir?
Yes, Meenakshi, continue.
So I think understanding student psychology is very important quality of a good teacher. The soul of effective teaching learning is understanding student psychology. Understanding student psychology involves taking into consideration the interests, abilities, aptitudes, and limitations of the students. The teacher must learn to understand her learners and encourage them to progress in the path of academic development and all-round growth in a study. A good and successful teacher is one who perfectly understands the needs, aspirations, wishes, and desires of her students and practices tolerance and patience in dealing with the learners. Participation of the students in teaching learning process depends a lot how much the teacher understands the psychology. A good teacher is one who can understand the psychology of the students merely by virtue of his or her interest in the learner. Understanding the psychology of students helps the teacher to know how students learn and enables the teacher to know how the learning process should be initiated, how to motivate the students, how to make them understand topic, how to make them memorize or learn. It helps the teacher to guide the students in right direction in order to channelize student abilities in right direction. Further, I would like to say that understanding the psychology of students is very important because the emotional well-being of the students influences educational performance, learning, and their development. When a teacher is capable of looking after the emotional well-being of the students, she is successful in imparting knowledge to her students. Thank you.
I think Sujit Kumar, Nilam, and if anybody missed, they could.
Good evening, sir. Audible, sir?
Yes.
A good teacher is one who gives importance or focus on the student's interest on asking questions, helps to create their own thinking world, and good teaching includes not differentiating among students. That means there are different level of students, such as someone is genius, someone is an average, or even someone may be dull. But a good teacher should come down to that level of understanding so that an average or even a dull students get better understanding. I think as a result, good teaching can make an average student or dull student wonder. They may be freed from any kind of hesitation in the teaching and learning process. This is all about, sir. Thank you.
I think Nila. Some people are left out. If anybody is left out without calling by my mistake, they could also come forward. Sheetal, I think we have done. Anybody else?
Yes.
Who is that?
Nisha.
Yeah, Nisha, sorry.
Nisha.
Yeah, come on. Did I call you or I left?
I think that a good teacher, if you're talking about who is a good teacher, I feel that first and foremost, a good teacher is a person who, most importantly, takes up this profession not with the thought that this is the only option, last option that is left for me, right? A good teacher will take up this profession because it is his or her passion. He loves to be amongst students. He wants to impart his knowledge. Rather, he or she wants to share his knowledge with someone. And that, according to me, is a good teacher. Apart from that, a teacher should be loyal to his or her profession, because I feel that if there is loyalty, all the other things like patience that we are talking about, being compassionate, being empathetic, all of this will come if you are loyal to your profession, right? That is my personal view. And I also feel that a good teacher is one who can influence a child. As one of our participants had already mentioned, that a good teacher is that teacher who has made such an impact in the child that 10 years down the line, 15 years down the line, he or she still remembers you and gives your example as a good teacher. That should make you proud. And definitely, if any one of us gets a call from a student saying, "Ma'am, I still remember," or "Sir, I still remember what you taught, the way you taught. Probably I've never found someone like you," then you've achieved your goal. And I think that these things are very important in a good teacher. That's all from my side, sir. Thank you.
If I left out Nisha, your name was not there in the chat, so I missed it.
Okay, sir.
I was just checking again if it is my mistake.
No, sir, it was my mistake because that time all the others were on talking,
Okay.
so that's why.
Yeah, anybody else?